Hi, I'm Ciara, and welcome back to animation. So, today we're going to be circling back to a few techniques as a review because following this lesson, we are going to start a project. So, today is kind of the last lesson that is going to teach us the techniques and basics of animation. So far, we have talked about replacement, and we've also briefly talked about rotation. So today we're going to talk about moving our objects because this is something we haven't really discussed very much. So for this lesson, you will need your background and just one object to animate. Today is less about creating something new and more about improving the skill set that we already have. So to get started, I'm going to show you here, and then I'm going to show you in real time a version of this that you can follow along with. So what you're going to do is you're going to set up your background and you're going to decide which one object you're going to be using. We are going to discuss how to introduce an object into an animation and how to take an object out of an animation. So to begin, we are going to start with a slide in model. So when you slide in an object, you first want to test and make sure that your background fits within your frame and see where it is that your object that you're animating first pops into the frame. And that's where you're going to begin. So if I was taking a photograph of this particular scene here, ideally I only see this very corner of my object, and then I take a picture. I move it just ever so slightly forward and take another picture. The idea here is that we're making really tiny movements, and every time you move the object, you're taking a photo. So you're going to repeat that process over and over until you get to the point on your frame where you want the object to be still. Once you get it there, you can start using your replacement technique or you can use your rotation technique, but that is one way of introducing an object. Another way of introducing an object is for it to spin in. So this is using rotation and also using that slow entry that we just discussed. You can obviously do this with replacement too. So we're just learning how to combine different techniques together today, essentially. So sliding in, just to repeat that, is when we move it in really slowly. And spinning in, you're rotating it and taking a photo every time. The most important part of this lesson to remember is that the smaller the motion that you make, the better your animation will be. Because animations take so much footage to be created, little tiny movements will read better in an animation than big motions. If you've been experimenting with your animation, I'm sure you've seen that if you place your object here, take a photo, and immediately move it to here and take a photo, it doesn't look as interesting as if you were to make a small collection of photographs. So, like I said, following this video, there's going to be a follow along real time of me animating and showing you again. So what you can do right now is prep your station, get ready, and we're going to start animating.
So to begin, go ahead and set down your backgrounds. And then once your camera on your animation device is ready, you can zoom in on your background just by dragging the screen so that all you see is a zoomed in part of your background and you don't see any of your exterior surface. So I'm going to start with slide in. And when I slide in my planet, I'm going to start by just showing a small portion of my planet. And each time I move a little more of my planet into the frame, I take a photo. So I'm moving, taking a photo, moving, taking a photo. Once I'm at the center, I'm going to try out my rotation technique. You can also use your replacement technique here. It's up to you. And once I've made a full rotation, I'm going to exit the screen in the same way that I entered the screen. So I'm just moving my planet ever so slightly to the left, taking a photo, moving it again and taking a photo, moving it again and taking a photo. This is a good time to use a partner. You can have somebody move the object for you while you take the photo, or vice versa. So the other technique that I discussed earlier is rotation as a form of entry. So when you're doing that, all you're doing is you're flipping your object at the same time that you're moving it. So I rotate, move, and then take a photo. Rotate, move, and then take a photo. And I just repeat this over and over until I make my way across the screen. So just one more time, I rotate, I move, and then I take a photo. I rotate, I move, and then I take a photo. And here I'm using replacement in terms of size. So I'm replacing my planet with a smaller version of itself each time and slowly moving out of the frame. So go ahead and try those different techniques out and practice them with your objects and see which style you prefer and which is easiest for you.
So that's it for today's lesson. And just as a recap, today we were just practicing some old techniques that we learned in previous lessons and also making really slow movements. It's so important in animation that we make really, really small movements over a long period of time to make our animations more interesting and more lifelike. So today we practiced our circular technique as well as our replacement technique. And after this video, please feel free to practice those techniques and create your own. There are so many that we have not even begun to learn about. Next time, we're going to start learning about storytelling with animation. So we're going to learn about storyboards and character traits and start making some stories with our new animation techniques that we've learned. I'm going to leave you with an animation that I made using my planets, practicing all the things that we talked about today, and I will see you next time.